students. Welcome to week 9, everybody. We're getting through it. All right. Thanks to everybody who got their stuff turned in Thursday and over the weekend. I will have those outlines and database assignments back to you within the next day or so. Blackboard's being super slow and sludgy and glitchy, so I'll do the best I can so that you've got what you need before you turn in your draft for Thursday. We're going to do the same thing we did last time. You submit a full, complete draft. Your grade is based on completeness of the assignment, and I will give you feedback. See, it's like super slow and sludgy. It's the same instructions as last time. You'll see. Um, just do your best, and I will give you feedback on that. Your own personal video. You can make any corrections you need to, and then turn in the final draft by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. I've posted 2 example essays here for you to use. I'm not going to read them to you, but I wanted you to see some finished products from previous semesters. I do have their permission to share these. So pay attention for sure to how they structure the paper. Remember, you need a summary of the poem and then your thesis, which breaks down the focus of your argument, but also, what your subtopics are. So just like last time, like mini outline. And then just stick to your topics in the order in which you promised to talk about them. So let's talk poem citation. Okay, so you're going to need a works cited entry for the poem that you're talking about, and the format that you're going to use depends on whether you got your poem out of the Arguing About Literature book, which a lot of them are in there, but some of them are online. So I've got the 2 example essays here. This one, right, the poem came out of the Arguing About Literature book, so it's going to be a selection from an anthology format, and you can use this as your guide. It's also in your handbook on page 336. 336. But it's going to look like this basically. The only thing that would change, unless you're doing this poem, the only thing that would change would be the name, the title of the poem, and the page range it falls on. Okay, so make sure you put the poem title in quotation marks. Make sure you put the book title in italics, editor names, Bedford St. Martin's, 2020, page range. You're good to go. This is their outside source that they got through the databases. They lucked out. Oh, I gotta fix that. We need singles, not doubles. Double, double. We don't want that. Singles if something's already in quotation marks. That's how that works. I will fix that and re-upload it. Um, so this format, like remember the databases give you the entry for the source. I'll give you feedback on what you've got in your navigating the databases assignment, assuming you've got, the source you want to use. You may end up using more sources too. That's fine. As long as they come from the databases, you are good to go. If you did not find an article that is about specifically the poem you're talking about, remember it's okay as long as you have um, a source that is generally about the poet and their work or their life or what have you. Like all of that is fine. You may have to work a little harder to figure out how to apply it to what you're saying, but you can still write an awesome paper with that kind of source. It's just a slightly different approach. I'm confident you can do it. So last name, first name, title of the article. If the poem title is already in quotation marks in the title, then you just switch it over to singles like I just did there. Italics for the original publication, that's the original journal, the original encyclopedia, the original magazine, whatever, where the database got it from. The year it was published, and the database. So in this case, Gale Literature Resource Center. And then the URL, the permalink. Okay, don't try to use, really for real, do not try to use a citation generator for these because it'll just come up as like GTC library or whatever. It won't have the URL. Like it can't do that because they're not open access sources. You have to go through the databases to get these, as you know. So if you try to use a citation generator, I will know immediately because they're always wrong in the same way. And they don't give the actual information needed to get to the source, which is the whole point of the works cited entry. It's a breadcrumb trail that has all the information needed to find the source where you found it. That's all citation is. This is where I learned what I learned. Whereas paraphrasing is, this is what I learned. Citing is, this is where I learned it. So for citing the poem, This student opted to be extra cautious and put the last name of the poet in there too, but really all you need is the line number being cited, not the page number, the line number. Poems, we cite lines, not page numbers, because most poems are not longer than a page, so it's kind of pointless to cite a page number. So this would have been line 17 from the poem, this would have been line 19 from the poem, and if I looked at the poem and I counted down, I would find that exact line where that student said it would be, okay? For outside sources, it's the same rules as before. So if you have an author name, in this case, Hotchman, right there, boom. No page numbers for the source, so none need to be cited. If you have page numbers, just do a space and then the page number. This was their only outside source, so we don't have anybody else we need to look for, but remember, it's always a good idea, especially if you have more than one outside source you're using, which is totally fine and great, to just go through and do what I did there with Control F and just do a quick search for each last name. Or if we don't have an author name, remember we go to the next best thing about the source, an abbreviated version of the title in quotation marks. But we only do that if we don't have an author name. So the other example B, I want to show you because it's a good essay in the way that the other essay is a good one. This one's about Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. We've got our kind of summary of the poem, and we've got a clear thesis. She sticks really well to the thesis, same good stuff. She happened to have two articles that neither of which had an author name, and she got both of them from the Gale Literature Resource Center, and they had the same title, and they were from the same journal, but they were from different volumes of the journal. So that is why she's got the volume number specified in there. If you didn't have that circumstance, you wouldn't do that. It's just that was the only thing she could do to differentiate between the two in her in-text citations. So she had to email me and we had to kind of figure out what to do together. But hopefully you won't run into anything that tricky and you'll have an author name. But if you don't have an author name, you just go to the next best thing. Okay, so another reason I wanted to show you this example is that this is the works cited format for if you have a poem that did not come from the Arguing About Literature book. So the Maya Angelou poem Still I Rise came from there's the draft assignment. Came from this. So this is where you would have originally read it. Okay, it's from the Poetry Foundation website. And you'll have to do citing the lines, just count down. You can do that. It's not that hard. So the format for that, and this is on page 339 of your handbook, because this is a web source. You're not, just to be clear, you are not citing, at least like 3 people are going to do this. You're not citing, somebody always does. You're not citing the original book from 1978 because you didn't read that book. You don't have that. I would be very impressed if you had a copy of that book and that's where you read the poem. Maybe you do. Maybe you're that cool. I'm not that cool. I don't have the original 1978 version of it. I read it here, as you probably did too. So instead, we're citing it as a work from a website, which is going to be on page 339. Last name, first name, period, title of the poem in quotation marks, the name of the website that it came from. In this case, it's Poetry Foundation. So for the date, you're going to go by the copyright date. So it would be 2022. That's their last copyright date. Oop, wrong one, sorry. I'll show you that in a minute. So the student did it when the copyright date was 2021. And then you're just going to copy paste the URL from out of the web browser up at the top. Just click on it, Control C, Control V, boom, it's in there. Easy enough. And then these are her database articles. Like I said, they are from 2 different volumes of this, basically the same source, but they are different articles. We've got everything in alphabetical order, as always. The only way she could, she did 38 before 61, but obviously Angelou is going to come before Overview. Same with this one as well, right? Hotchman comes before Thomas. Hopefully you're getting the idea. So the only one that I thought was going to be particularly tricky would be if you're doing, and I know a number of people are, Commitments by Hemphill. So I thought I'd be extra nice and just kind of make one and show it to you. So the thing that makes it tricky is because the blog where this is posted is somebody named Luther Hughes, but he's not the poet. Essex Hemphill is. So it would be Hemphill, comma Essex period. The title of the poem, Commitments. I had to dig around a little bit, but the website it came from is called The Real Shade Blog, and website titles go in italics always. The date it was put up on that blog was 2016, and then I just took I found, yeah, that's where I found 2016. And then I just copy pasted the URL, right? So hanging indent, double space, as always. But if you're doing that poem, I figured I'd just show you what it should look like. Okay, so that's it. That is it. So you're going to turn in your draft. It's the same as always, the full thing. Um, Introduction, body paragraphs, conclusion, have all your citations in there. Just pretend like you're turning it in for the final grade, and I will give you feedback on whatever needs to be fixed. You fix it, you get a good grade. It worked out great for everybody last time who did it. And if you didn't last time, then I would recommend doing it this time. Ask your classmates, they'll tell you. It's a pretty sweet deal. Have somebody tell you everything you need to fix before you turn the paper in. So go ahead and do that and get a good grade and go confidently in the direction of your dreams. You also got a quiz on modifiers due Sunday as well. So that's it. Y'all have a good week. If you need anything or want any additional feedback on top of what I'm going to give you for your outlines and database assignments, don't be a stranger. Talk to you later. Bye.